Now, there. Okay, we're recording. Good to go?
Good to go. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to start. Either way, I'm still going to take notes. And then when we're done, that recording will end up in your little like messenger thing down there on the bottom of Skype. Then save it to a device because you'll want to save it to something because I think it only stays like 30 days in their little like Skype thing. I'm going to start because I have somebody who's kind of driving me a little bit crazy. I want to talk about a young female. She is putting herself below you in my vision. So when she does that, she makes me feel like a daughter. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Girl. And sassy like me. So there's that. She's going to be fun. Okay. Now she's telling me my passing was sudden and unexpected. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Was sudden and unexpected. Expected. And she's making me feel like she's taking me to a house just before this. So she was at home just before this happened?
Yes.
That's where she's living, correct?
Yes.
Home. She was living with you, correct?
Yes.
Before this. She says, she's like, that's where I'm living. I'm living with mom, right? And dad. So there's mom and dad there, correct?
Yes.
Lived with mom. Dad's not chopped liver. We can't leave him out. With mom and dad. What's the mum reference?
Mom.
Mum, yes. So is it mum and not mom?
For her, yes.
She's correcting me. She's like, it's mum.
She was born in England.
Shut up. Mum, exclamation point, not mom.
Oh my God, I'm covered in goosebumps.
I love her. She's like, bitch, it's mum. Get it right. Like, listen, and if I get that wrong, like, I'm sorry, because I'm so used to saying mom. But I just put mum, not mom. She's, correcting me. Okay. Now, she does make me feel like her passing was tragic. So she's making me feel like there's tragedy in this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Was tragedy in my passing. With that, she's kind of making me feel like I'm owning this a bit. So were her actions bringing about her passing?
Yes.
She's saying my actions brought this. So I feel like I'm kind of owning this. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes.
Brought about my passing. And she's giving me references here as well. Was there something with her breathing being restricted?
Yes.
Okay. She's going to walk me through the things, right? But she's, I don't know if that was a bug. Sorry, my breathing was restricted. But she's making me feel like she did this. Does that make sense?
Yes, she did.
Okay, so I feel like right out the bat, she's just saying, Farah, like I did this, I'm taking responsibility, and right, and she says, I feel like I took my life.
That's what she did. Yes.
She's making me feel like I gave no indications that day. So was she not? I literally feel like she seemed fine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Gave no indications. Sometimes they'll show me, unfortunately, I do a lot of readings where people have taken their life, and sometimes they'll show me they're in turmoil that day, like there's a great blah, blah, blah. No, I don't feel like, she says, I was fine that day. So I feel like you saw her that day. She was fine, correct?
We spoke that day. She was fine.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because she's making me feel like, mom and I had interactions that day. I was fine. Or I said I was, right?
Yes.
Said I was. No, she had struggled a little bit before, though. She's making me feel like. So she had she struggled with depression before?
She absolutely, yes.
So for me, she says I'm like, how about before? Because sometimes they show me they're happy up into this moment. She says, I had struggled before with depression. Because I don't feel like there's a big event that happens in this moment.
No, there was no pinnacle moment.
Yeah, no big, I'm always asking, like, is it a breakup? Is it a this? Or, because there's usually something that puts us in this mode of like going, I'm done with this, right? And she said nothing happened that day. No. Wow. Nothing happened that day. Now she's taking you a little distance. So were you a distance from home in the moment?
No.
Why is she telling you were a little distance?
I was in the house. I was only distanced by 2 bedrooms.
So she means a little distance. Okay, because she says you were a little distance from me that day. Okay, I'll just write it how I got it from me. But she was in the bedroom, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm like, are you in the garage? Or and she's saying I'm in the bedroom. Okay. I was in my bedroom. And is there a reason she's showing you a horse at her side as well? So did we lose a horse also?
No. She hasn't lost a horse, but she was an avid equestrian.
Okay, because she's showing me a horse at her side in heaven. So, okay, at my side in heaven. Yeah, there's got to be a horse that we have that we're tied to that passed, because she's making me feel like, no, this is tied to us.
She rode a lot of horses that weren't owned by us at stages in her life. So that could be.
Yeah, because I feel like, no, mom, I have ties to this horse. Like, she's making me feel like, so I feel like horses that she has spent time with in life have passed. So she's like correcting you. She's like, no, it's not just that I was into them. Like, this one's tied to me. So, because she showed me she won ribbons. Like, was she competing for ribbons?
Yes, she won a lot of ribbons.
And I feel like there may be a ribbon tied to this horse is kind of what, like, so that's why she's like, no, Farah, I've won ribbons. And I feel like, so I don't know if back in the day she won ribbons on somebody else's horse that's passed, but that's maybe like another detail of saying whose horse this was, right? But she says, I have ribbons from this horse. Okay. Why is she putting all the ribbons together?
Well, there was one eventing day where she won so many ribbons, they were countless, but that was on her horse that we owned. We've sold that horse. That horse may have passed.
She's shown me so many ribbons in a clump together. So yeah, I wonder, I don't know, like, how long ago was that? Do you know?
Yeah, the horse was sold 3 years ago.
It might just be another thing that she's showing me, like, Farah, I've won ribbons, and she's showing me a clump together. So for me, she must have won a bunch, so we may not still be talking about the horse that's with her, right? But yeah, she says so many ribbons won together, like at the same time, because she's showing me a clump.
Yes, we have those. We have all of them, and they're still together.
Yeah, they're all in a clump, she says. She says they're all in a clump.
They're all in a clump.
Are all in a clump. And she still loved riding, she's telling me. So she did still enjoy riding?
Yes.
Still loved riding. But was she taking a break from competition at this time?
Yes.
Just a detail, right? I was taking a break from competition. At this time. Okay. And I feel like that was a struggle for her, because I feel like that focus, the competition focus, kept her in a positive focus. You know what I mean? But she's saying it was a struggle for me not to compete too.
Yes, that makes sense.
Struggle. Only because I would get wrapped up in myself, in my head in that time.
Yes.
Not. But she decided to take a break though, correct?
It was her choice, yes.
Just a detail, right? I'm like, did you get hurt? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I decided to quit. I decided to take a break. I don't feel like I wanted to quit forever, but I decided to take a break. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense, yes.
To take a break from competition. And she's showing me doing some writing. So she was doing some writing. So
she was a very recognized writer.
And I feel like, because I'm like, why are we taking a break from writing if we love writing? And she says I was doing some writing. So I feel like she went from writing to writing, right? And so she's making me feel like, I feel like she wanted to focus on that. Does that make sense?
It did, yes.
What's the travel with that? Was she traveling with that?
She wasn't traveling for the writing, but she has done a lot of traveling.
Okay, she showed me, so I don't know if she was taking a break and she was traveling and writing or something, but she showed me travel also with that.
Shortly before her passing, we did a month abroad.
That would be a bit of travel. Yes.
Yeah.
She's like traveling with that time frame too, right? So
Yeah.
she's amazing at connecting with that time frame also. But she loved to travel.
She did love to travel.
But why do I feel like that was a weird space though? So the place that we went, was it weird?
Yeah, it was a big trip. We went multiple places and some of it was weird. Yes.
Yeah, she's like, Farah, that place was weird. She says that was a weird, like, it's not bad. Just, yeah, she says that was a weird place though that we traveled. We traveled. Okay. Why am I seeing like temple stuff? Were you going to see temples? Or was there something going to see like a temple?
Not in that trip, but in a prior trip and in the trip that she missed because she had transitioned. There were temples.
She says, I went to the temples. Tell mom I went to the temples.
She did.
So
She
you
went to
know
the,
what she's talking about.
yeah, that was Bali.
Oh gosh. Temples. Tell mom I went to the, but she was going though, correct?
We did the Bali trip together and she was meant to be going to Thailand with us. I'm sure she was with us at every temple we went to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's making me feel like I was scheduled to go. And she's like, no, Farah, I was going. So I feel like that was a trip we already had planned before she passed, right? And then she's telling me, like, I was going already, but she says, I didn't miss it.
Aw.
Miss it, mom. Mom.
Mom.
I'm trying, girl. I really am. Okay. But she's showing me you honored her there. You honored her in the temple?
Yes, we bought crystals to every temple.
Yeah, because I feel like we're putting something there. Yep. Me at the temple. And what's the flower? Were you bringing a flower too?
Yes.
You said crystals, and she's like, and the flowers. I also provide smart ass remarks from your kid if you missed that. She's like, look, I love it. She's just adding to the conversation, right? Flowers. In addition to this. So were you putting flowers at the temples?
Yes.
You brought flowers in addition to crystals. And I'm going to put crystals in quotes because that's your word, but she was responding to you saying you brought crystals. And she's like, yeah, but you brought flowers, right? To the temples. What's the yellow flower?
That's the sunflower.
Is that what you were bringing to the temple?
We didn't bring sunflowers to the temple. They didn't have them there. But the sunflower is hugely significant.
Yeah, she says, you have yellow flowers for me.
Everywhere. Her father has planted hundreds.
Yeah, are they outside?
They're outside.
But wait, what's that way? Is there one to your right?
Yeah.
She says to mom's right, there's sunflowers.
That's where her biggest garden is. We've got multiple gardens, but that's the main one.
That, she's like, to mom's right, outside is my sunflowers.
Oh my gosh.
To mom's right is my sunflowers outside. Why is she splitting them up in two gardens there though? So out there where that is there actually two sunflower gardens there?
Yes.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
She is like so amazing. Flower gardens there. You know, it's funny because usually with a first time reading, like I walk through their entirety of their passing. She like mentioned it and moved on to good shit. She's like, okay, we're there, like we're done, you know. So that's not where she's staying, you know. So she's amazing. But there are two sunflower gardens there that are huge, she's telling me.
They're enormous.
But she's splitting them. So they're split, correct?
Yes, they are absolutely split.
They are split. What the fuck is it with the, yeah, but are you getting ladybugs?
Yes, that's another one of her signs.
She says, I've been sending ladybugs, and I swear to God, like, I feel like I have fucking ladybugs, like little ladybugs on me. I'm like, remember earlier I was like, was that a bug? Like, and then I'm like, what is that you're doing? And she's like, it's ladybugs there. It's ladybugs. She says, I've been sending ladybugs. Okay, she can stop giving them to me because they're making me itchy. Sorry.
I asked her to bring that up because I get them all the time. I feel them on me all the time.
Do you really?
All the time. Whenever I'm quiet.
I've never had a loved one give me ladybug itchies. Like, I'm literally like, what the fuck? Like, why are there like I've seen a flash of a ladybug, but I literally feel like there's ladybugs like crawling on my face, like on my arms, like, you know how like when they just like you get one and they crawl on you and you look at them or whatever. I'm not freaked out by them, but she keeps making me tickle. So she says, I've been sending some ladybugs to mom. And she says, those are from me. So if you ask her to bring those up, that's why she's bringing them up. And it is her sending them, right? She says, I send them all the time. So probably even the spirit ones, like she's sending me, because I keep going, look, bitch, stop.
Yeah. It's all the time, Farah. Whenever I sit quietly or I pray or I meditate, I am covered in a feeling of being covered in bugs.
Yeah,
And ladybugs. And when I got married, there was a ladybug on my veil the entire day into the next day. I wore my veil to the breakfast the next day, and it had 2 spots on it. And my mom and my aunties were all saying, because you're going to have 2 babies.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Love, love, love. So this is her. And do you have a son?
I do.
Because she's saying, I have a brother. Brother. Why is she fist bumping him?
Is that something they would have done?
She's fist bumping him. Is he littler though?
Yes.
She says he's littler. Like, I feel like I'm the big sister.
She is the big sister.
Younger. I'm the big sister. Okay. Okay, but does he not ride like her? She says he didn't ride like me.
Not like her, no.
But he does ride.
He does ride.
Like me, but he does ride. I feel like she won more competitions than him.
Oh, yeah. He does not compete. He doesn't ride horses.
Yeah, she says, I won more competitions than him. I'm like, who won more? She's like, me. But was he riding a bike or something?
Motorcycle.
Yeah, a bike, a dirt bike or whatever. It's a dirt bike, correct?
No, it's a proper motorcycle.
Oh, then him. Like, yeah, she's putting him on a bike. Putting brother on a bike. But he started riding young, she says.
Not motorcycles, no. Other motor vehicles, carts, things like that.
Yeah, like riding and driving young is what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? Driving young.
It does.
It's not a Harley type bike, correct? Is this more like a crotch rocket?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm seeing. Okay. We ride Harleys, and so she's like, no, my brother rides a crotch rocket, not a Harley type. You know what I mean? Crotch rocket bike. Why is she showing me 2? Is this his second bike?
It is.
She's amazing. Type. She says this is his second bike. Second. She says no big accidents.
Not yet.
She's like, I've been helping.
I know she has.
Because I feel like he's fast as fuck.
Yeah, he's fast as fuck.
I've helped. He's fast as fuck. I love her. Fast as fuck. Okay. Hey, she can fly that fast though. So she says I can fly faster. But he's safe, she's telling me. So he wears a helmet.
He wears a helmet.
Yep. She says he's safe. He wears a helmet. Well, that's good. Wears a helmet. Okay. But were we living overseas? She's showing me living overseas. So were we living not in the US?
No, we're not in the US.
You sound like you're in the US, girl.
I'm from New York, but
Okay.
we've
Yeah.
moved around a lot.
Yeah, she says we lived outside of the US.
Yes.
And I know that she already brought up the mum thing, but I feel like even later then. So whether she was born in London for whatever reason, but she's showing me we continue to live out of the US for the most
Yes.
part. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
For much of her life, she's telling me.
She was a US citizen, but she never actually lived there.
Wow.
We spent a lot of time there, but she never lived there. Yeah.
I don't blame you. Okay, yeah, but she says, yeah, for much of my life is what I'm seeing, like not in the US. And she says it was perfect.
Oh,
And she makes me feel so beautiful. She's like, Farah, I'm beautiful.
Who? She?
No, her, yeah. She says, I'm so beautiful. So I don't feel like she had insecurities with her looks.
She was stunning. Stunning.
Yeah, I feel, she says, I'm so beautiful. She says, I was not insecure. I just feel like she struggled with depression, which is so weird because she's showing me the life. Farah, I'm traveling, I'm writing, I've got a brother, we're fist bumping, like everything's good. I don't feel like there's major trauma, there's not abuse, there's not neglect, like there's no breakup. Too beautiful for this world.
I've always thought that.
That's literally, I'm like, what happened? And she's saying, too beautiful for this world.
Yes. I always say she went home. She knew the distance between how she should feel and what it, in that intense love and ecstatic joy.
You know, heaven, it's really hard to stay here. I get that. I get that. Like, I know where I come from. I know who I am over there. And this is like, even though my life is beautiful, this is tough, you know, especially when you know, like I live off of love and that's how she felt. And so not that she's not loved here, but I literally feel like she lived for the feeling of love every day that home provides. Yes. And no matter how much love we're provided with here, it never comes close to even the smallest fraction that you could divide something into of the love we have in heaven. And so we're constantly yearning for that peace. And I think she knew that. She was very in tune, she's telling me. So spiritually, in life, she was very in tune. Does that make sense?
Very, yes.
So in tune to like a little like me, so to speak.
She had abilities.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Yeah. Like a little like Farah. She says, I was so in tune to spirit, very much like Farah. And I think that can be overwhelming, especially when you're young, because, you know, but although you guys would embrace and encourage that, I didn't have that, you know, but she's making me feel like, no, my parents embraced me. So I feel like you knew that and you were encouraging of it.
Yes.
So for me, she's got the support system that she needs and everything. Parents always supported me and embraced my, like, I feel like you embraced her spirituality.
Completely.
Embraced my spirituality. It's one thing that I always tell people, like you know, people will reach out to me and go, gosh, you know, I'm so depressed, I'm so this and I'm so that. And somebody like her would have needed to literally like clear her space with light every day. Every day that she got in the shower, she would have needed to literally picture God's beautiful light. Or if you don't believe in God, that's cool. But I always picture that beautiful light coming in me and through me and removing all negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions that have been sent to me by others that I'm taking on because I am an empath. So she's that empath, and what she's doing is she's getting heavier and heavier and heavier every day, not knowing why she's so heavy. She's got no reason for it. But what she didn't realize in life is that she could have cleared her space each day and sent those feelings of heaviness back with love, and just almost like recycled them for those people that she was taking them on for. And she wouldn't have even known she was taking it on. Just so you know, like for me, what happened is she was just getting so heavy with no reason for it. And then she just felt less and less love surrounding her because she was feeling more and more of the negative heaviness that she was really healing others from, not realizing she was doing that. She would take on their pain. She would take on their heaviness, their frustrations. When people get angry in our space, we take that in. And I have to literally, like, if I'm in a space where somebody's mad or angry, I feel like I'm on fire. It's the best, like spiritually. And so it's just so overwhelming. Like, even if my husband gets mad about something and he's like, I'm not mad. I'm like, the fuck you aren't. I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like, so stop that, whatever it is, even if it's mad at traffic, mad at whatever, you know? And so just so you know, for your knowledge, she didn't know, nobody would have known, but she was taking on the energy of helping others without realizing she was.
I completely have come to that conclusion. She was the person that everybody went to, myself included sometimes. So I'm carrying regret and guilt because I felt like I put on.
Put it down, girl. Put it down. Pick up your favorite memory of her and your favorite moment and put that in its space, because nobody knew that she was this gifted. She was too young to understand it. And you weren't going to understand all of it either. For me, so yeah, she says, I took on the energy. It is what I'm going to put in my notes of those around me. And she says, I helped them without knowing. So I feel like she was able to take that from people. And I'm able to do that too. But I've learned a way to process and recycle that versus like when I went to the Helping Parents Heal conference, not this last year, but the year before, I literally made sure to touch every parent with my hands as I was going through the halls. Everywhere that I went, I wanted to touch and hug everybody. But what they didn't realize is as I touched them, I was pulling pain. And I literally came home and had like, have you ever seen the movie Green Mile? Where the African-American guy like has that release, that I came home and had the most crazy release of like cry. And I've never done that in my life, but I literally I made sure to touch every parent that I possibly could. And I was like, whoa, it was so overwhelmingly beautiful that I was overwhelmed with the beauty, knowing how much pain I was able to get pulled. And it was amazing. And your daughter was pulling that pain from people not knowing she was, and she didn't know what to do with it. So just so you know. But yeah, I took the energy on of those around me, and she says not knowing how to process it. And she didn't know she was doing that to process. And she says, I didn't know I was doing it. And so I do feel like that's part of what she was carrying. It helps to explain why the depression, when she was such a well-loved, happy, you know, things to do kid. I didn't know how to protect my abilities.
She was so gifted, Sarah. She was so gifted.
She's sitting in my space right now, so I can tell you how fucking gifted she is, because she feels amazing like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, how amazing is she at connecting right now? Like, she's like walking me through things, taking me through the ladybugs, because you asked. She says, I didn't miss the temples, right? And you added flowers at the temples, not just crystals. Like, she's correcting you. She's amazing. She's this vibrant and perfect all day, every day. But she says there's sunflowers in the house too.
Oh, yes, there are.
Flowers. And what's the metal one? Is there one that's made of metal?
There's one that's on a metal rod.
Yeah, she says one sunflower is on metal, is what I'm seeing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But just one.
Just one.
Just one. She's fucking amazing. Sorry. You're going to have to excuse all my cuss words. So
I'm from New York. I curse all the time.
Okay, good. I feel like God only put the cool people in my past, so there's that. But yeah, she says just one, but she says it's beautiful.
It was
but that's in the house. That's in the house, correct?
No, that one's in her garden.
Okay, she's telling me there's one in the house also. Is one in the house?
Look, we have so many. I can't think of a
Why
metal
do I
one.
feel like if I go down the hall, there's another sunflower with metal at it? I'm going to write it down.
Write it
Down the
down.
hall. Another. So I might be talking about another one because she says yes, there is one in the house also down the hall, another sunflower with metal at it. Well, she still has a room there, she says.
She does.
Have a room there. Now, she's telling me you made changes there, though. You made changes in the room?
Her father did, yes.
That's all right. She says you made changes in my, because I don't feel like it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she adding a seat? Were we adding seating in there or something?
Not seating.
Like she's showing me going in there to sit.
I go in there to sit.
Okay, got it. It's like she's taking me in there to sit. Like she's adding seating. Like, are you sitting on the floor though?
No.
She's making me feel like you're sitting on something. So there's, I don't know if we're sitting on the bed, but she's making me feel like there's seating. Like she's like, they sit in there.
Yes.
To sit in my vision. She says, I go with you. Go with you. Okay. No big boyfriend at the time, she's telling me. So was she not in a big relationship?
She was.
Why is she telling me no boyfriend? Was there something going on with that?
I think so.
I kind of feel like she was over it though.
I think so. She wasn't discussing it with me. And since she's transitioned, he's never come up in any connection. So
yeah, I don't feel like he's the reason or in that moment, but she's telling me no, Farah, no big boyfriend at the time. I was over it is what she's telling me. So I actually feel like she was, so for me, it's not a him breaking up with her and breaking her heart thing. I feel like I was kind of done with him. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yes.
So I don't feel like that's a heartbreak in the moment type thing. Again, just a thing. She says I was over it. And she was done with school at the time, correct?
She wasn't done with school, but we were talking about taking time off.
Because she's telling me I was done with, so yes, she wanted to take a break or she wanted to stop school at the time, correct? And for me, she's coming, I was done with school at the time. So that's what this timeout thing is that I keep doing, right? With school at the time. God, she's not very old though. So is this like high school, college age? Like I feel like she's just a young adult.
Yes.
Young adult. But she had plans for a big college thing, she says. So she was going to go for a long-term thing, correct?
Correct.
But not right now, she's telling me. So she was wanting to put the stop on that, or she's talking about stopping.
Yes, we're talking about taking a semester off.
Yeah, because she was already in college, correct?
Yes.
She says, I had plans to do a big college path. But she says, I was putting a stop to that for now.
That's correct.
Stop to that for now. She must have been good at poetry as well.
Fara, we didn't know, and we have found her poetry, and it is brilliant.
I'll be the judge of that because I might write some poems. You'll have to send me one. Or you don't have to, but I would love to read one.
Will. I'll send you all. Now I need to say I have a big guilt around that because at some stage we didn't know Gracie was writing poetry. And she said, Mom, I think I might want to be a poet. And I said, Grace, poets have the highest rate of suicide. Please don't be a poet. But Farah, she was a poet. She was a poet.
Wow, so am I. I've literally written poems since I was a little girl. I have poems. I have poems that I wrote when I was a little girl, when even I was thinking about suicide because I was feeling too beautiful for this world in my youth and didn't want to be here. And again, no reason why, but at that time I did not understand my abilities. And so, I mean, I totally understand being in your daughter's shoes. I love that she put you with me because when, there's people that say that they're gifted, there's people that say that they're mediums, and then there's people that are truly gifted and in tune and very, like it's a whole different level of being in touch. And I think that those of us who truly are do struggle when we're in our youth and we, you know what I mean? So I think it's just part of our journey. But yeah, she says, I wrote the most beautiful poetry in life. And she's showing me that she did. But it's in a book, she's telling me. So is it in a book?
Not yet. I just had, and this was a beautiful unfolding that Grace must have been inspiring. I just had my niece's partner, Maya. She's just formatted it for me so that I can do something with it because it was all on her phone.
Got it.
So,
She's showing me putting it in a book. So are we trying to print them out into a book or something? Because she's telling me you're putting them in a book, or she's putting them in a book for my video. So there's got to be something with a book.
they're right here. They're right here. And we're figuring out what we're doing with it.
Cool. So if we're considering printing them into a, like, love her, putting them in a book in my vision. She says, I love that you have them. And I would say that she led you to them.
Yes, she did.
Because that's what she makes me feel. Have them. She says, I led you to them. Led you to them. Okay. And she could draw as well, she's telling me. She says, I could draw some. So I do feel like you did find some drawings. She's not as great at that as writing, but she says, I could draw some, though, as well.
I asked her to bring up, there was a painting that we found. And before this meeting, I asked her to bring it up because I've got some questions around it.
But was it a little dark?
Yes.
Because what she just showed me is what one of my daughters drew. And one of my daughters was struggling with depression. This is not the same drawing but just to tell you how she got me there, it is my daughter drew a picture of a woman, and then all over this woman's body, and my daughter is a really good artist, so it was a really beautiful picture of a naked woman kind of crouched down, and it just said, stupid, ugly, worthless, blah, 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 like all over this girl's body. And it was the weirdest thing because this daughter of mine, again, gifted, young, and she was struggling in her youth, in like when she was 15. We're blessed to have gotten her through that time, but your daughter's kind of showed me that. So I feel like what I drew was a little dark. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I did make art, and I was better at writing. Hold on. At writing. But she says the art I made was a little dark. Why do I feel like there was a premonition in that?
I had always had premonition dreams with the people in that are close to me that are going to transition next. They always come in a very specific layout. I had a premonition prior to Grace's passing that was different, so I didn't recognize it at the time. I even told her about it, and there was a piece of art.
There was a premonition in that for me. So yes, so okay, in Mom, for me, it wasn't the same passing. She's telling me. So did you not see her pass? She's telling me you didn't see me pass in the premonition.
No.
Okay. Where usually with others you do.
Yes.
In the premonition. I don't know if I'm spelling premonition right, but that's okay. Usually with others you do. Why is she telling me we were all there? In that premonition, was the family there?
Yes, we were all there.
Wow. All there. In Mom's premonition. Even other family, she says. So
Not that.
why do I feel like Grandma was there too?
There were dreams leading up. There were 2 dreams leading up. And Grandma was in the other dream.
And she's telling me Grandma was in a dream too. Okay, cool. You'll know what she's talking about. I just know what I'm seeing, right? But she says Grandma was in one also. That's tied to her. That's tied to your daughter. Does that make sense? Okay, when I'm tapping myself, I'm sorry. But Grandma was in one also tied to me. I mean, know that she's aware. I mean, I think that you're obviously spiritually in tune. Sometimes it's hard to process. I mean, girl, even like I will get an overwhelming feeling like when I'm sitting down going potty from somebody trying to connect with me and I have nothing going on at this time. So I'm not connecting for, you know what I mean? I'm like, I have my readings, whatever. But I'm like, I'm sitting on the potty going, okay, if you want me to help you, bring your people to me. Like, I don't know who the fuck you are, where to put you. You know what I mean? So you can't always expect to place every single thing that you see in spirit. And because sometimes it's hard for our human filter to allow us that knowing of what it means or, and that's truly meant to be, especially when it's your space, especially when it's your close, we're not as psychic for ourselves or meant to be as psychic for ourselves as we are for others. So don't beat yourself up for not recognizing this or for not, there's no could haves or should haves or what ifs that could have changed this moment. I promise you.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, that's okay. Take all the time you need, girl. I'm just here to remind you. But she says, Mom couldn't have done more because I feel like you kind of beat yourself up for those premonitions. Done more. She says you beat yourself up. And I totally understand the whole like frantic. When my daughter was struggling, girl, I mean, I literally would go check her room to make sure she didn't have razor blades or knives or anything in her. I as a mom understand. I literally was like, at one point, I was like, I literally can't stay with her day and night in real life and be with her every single moment of the day. I couldn't. For the rest of her life, and I was just going to have to hope that in moments she carried through. And you were there, you were present, you were open, you were her sounding board. And she's telling me all of that. So she says, you couldn't have done more. You were there for me. She says, I talked to you about everything.
Everything.
Literally.
Except for, well, I found out later that she was suicidal for a lot longer than we knew, friends knew. Well, we didn't know she was suicidal.
That's okay.
She talked about everything else. So I was worried. But.
Yeah, I think it's when I found that drawing that my daughter made that I really realized that she was really struck because we had just got back from a 16-day trip to Hawaii. Like we took them to the lake every other weekend. We were we played not video games, Yahtzee, like board games and stuff at the table, with the kids and card games and stuff. Like we were an active family unit. So it was really, so she's telling me this is basically the same as my daughter, Sydney, and just out of my 4 daughters, it was my Sydney, my youngest one, that struggled. And I didn't know she was struggling until I found that picture that she drew. And I was like, whoa. And I mean, it really I didn't get it. I was like, how is this possible? First is what I'm thinking, but not throwing that at her. But, it's hard to process because they're beautiful. And she is beautiful. Now she's buying chickens and pigs and cows, which is great. Like, that's her thing. Okay. Now, you still have a horse, she's telling me. So we still have a horse tied to us?
We have horses on the property. Yes.
Yeah, she says you still have horses there.
Yeah.
But why is she telling me one is tied to us? So did we ride one?
She didn't ride one, but one looks exactly like her horse. And This morning, Sarah, just before this reading, I went outside and this particular horse was going insane in the paddock. And
what's the different leg? Does it have a different color leg?
It's got a white sock.
She says it has. I'm like, what? How does it look the same as yours? And she says it has a different colored leg.
It has a white sock. But this horse kept coming up to the gate like someone was there. Like I know Grace was. I felt like Grace was out there getting the horses to. They just never behaved like that.
No, absolutely. She's absolutely capable. People are like, do we come back as a horse or a bird? I'm like, nope, but they can influence them for sure. We don't come back as an animal, but she has the ability to totally fuck with those horses. Absolutely. And you think she wouldn't? She's sassy and fun. She's amazing. Like her energy is absolutely so clear and amazing. So, yeah, I'm like, well, mom just said that it looks like yours. What does it look like? And she goes like, it has a different colored leg. Yes. Like that's it. She says, but that's the tie. Cause I was like, okay, a tie. Yeah. She says, that's the tie. The tie. To my horse. But is there 3 there?
There's 3 in that particular paddock. Yes.
There were 3 there with you.
Yeah. 3 in that paddock this morning that I was watching.
3 there. Yes. Like 3 there fucking with you. 3 horses messing with you.
Yep.
That were messing with you. She says that was me. That thing with you. That was me. Okay. Were they honoring her with a haka? Why is she giving me almost like a chant for her? It feels like a haka.
Because we live in New Zealand.
Okay. Did they honor her with a haka?
Her friends may have. She was in Haka when she was younger, sort of primary, middle school age. She was in the Haka team. So
okay,
perhaps.
got you. But I feel like these are older kids like her age, and she says they honor me with a haka. So I wonder if her friends honored her with a haka is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is like one of the most spiritual things I've ever actually seen in my life.
They're amazing.
It makes me cry like every time. Whatever they're saying, I don't even know what the fuck they're saying. Doesn't matter. She says I didn't miss it. Okay. And why is she tying that to dad? So is there a Maori tie to dad?
No.
Okay. Haka to dad also. I don't know if he was into that or what it is, but she's tying it to dad also. So I just don't know what she means by that. I'm going to put it with a question mark because I don't know what she means by that. Okay. But was her brother talking about moving?
Yes.
She says, my brother is speaking of moving. Talking. This would be a big deal, she says. Would be a big deal. What's the girl?
What's the girl? He has a girlfriend.
He's like, he's got a girl.
Yes.
Were they talking about moving together?
He was talking about moving and actually did some time away, but came back because of the girlfriend.
Yeah. So that I love that she's bringing it up, right? She's like, my brother was talking about moving, and she's like, but he's got a girl and spoke of moving, but I feel like he needs to be with her, or they would need to be together.
Yes.
Oh, hey, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Certainly did.
Need to be together. No ring yet, she says.
No ring.
I'm like, is he engaged? She's like, no ring yet. She says he's too young.
He is too young.
Okay, young. But she's showing me more school for him. So is he still doing school?
Not at the moment.
Why is she telling me my brother's talking about more school?
I hope he does.
Got it. Talking.
Yeah. He's talking. He's thinking.
Yeah. Like she says, he's talking about more school, and she's showing me more school for him. So she's making me feel like, brother, you need to go to school still, and you're talking about more school. Like, and we're still gonna have a girlfriend and blah blah blah, right? My brother's talking about more school. She says he can pull it off. Okay. And then she's painting outside for me. Then I have to try to understand what she's giving me. So was there a painting done outdoors for her?
I'm not sure what that would be.
She's painting flowers in my vision outside.
Oh. There was a painting done in her honor that we had hanging outside.
Yes, she's putting a painting outside. Shut up. Painting for me, and she's putting it outside. So that's why I like, yes.
Yeah.
Shut
Yes.
up. Outside in my vision. Okay, but did you take it down? She says you took it down.
We took it inside. Yeah. Yeah.
You took it down from outside. I love her. She's on it. Down from outside. She says it's perfect. Wait, it's a portrait though? Is it a portrait?
I have one painting that was a flower that was outside that we brought in. I also have a portrait.
Okay. Because she showed me, yes, that's why she was painting flowers outside, right? So then she put that outside my vision. Then she showed me a painting portrait, but why do I feel like my nose was off and she's laughing?
Oh my gosh, because it is.
She says, there is a portrait of me. Portrait. Oh, don't tell the person who painted that, she says.
Well, the painting came clairvoyantly, Fara.
Who did it?
A woman we'd never met before, a clairvoyant down on the South Island. It is the premonition dream I had of my daughter. And it came to us very shortly after she left. I don't know how she managed that or who did that with her, but it is my premonition dream. In my premonition dream, it's a long story. We don't have a lot of time for that, but the very end visual was, I'm looking for my daughter. I can't find her. She's disappeared. And I looked to a sandbank and there's a walrus and seal on it because my husband and son and I had just come through a tsunami. And I knew if we had any fear, we'd never survive. And now I'm looking for Grace. And I turned to the right and there's a sandbank with walrus and seals on it. And then I turn around to keep looking for Grace. And I looked back to the sandbank and this majestic white lion appeared. My daughter is being held by a white lion in this painting under a full moon, which is on the night she passed.
Wow. Wow.
Wearing the same dress that we actually laid her to rest in.
Wow. Wow. So, I mean, obviously, and again, that'd be one of those situations for me. If I had any art talent, if I was painting something like that, I'd be like, bring your person to me. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be knowingly like painting this and then try to figure out who you needed to get this to. So, yeah. Yeah. She says the nose is off a bit. LOL. She's laughing, but she says, but otherwise it's perfect. Wise. It's perfect. But that's inside, she says.
That's inside. And it saves my life every day. When I see that painting and the miracle that is, I know where she is.
Yeah, she's in heaven. She's perfect. Okay. And then were you wearing her bracelet? She says, Mom stole my bracelet. She says, you wear it.
I do.
She says, I love that, Mom. Mom. Oh my God, I'm going to kick her ass. Sorry. Look, I'm not going to talk crap to her because she's probably going to put bugs on me again. And I'm going to be like, okay. She's got the upper hand. I'm having way too much fun with your daughter. Okay. She's very much like me, like spunky and just super sass. And like, I would be like, fuck it, I'm sending the bugs back. Okay. And then I got to try to figure out what she's giving me. Okay. Was she actually working with kids to train other kids with horses? Why is she showing me her working with kids at one point? Was she helping other kids to ride?
She was working in a creche. She was working with children, and there was talk about her helping kids to ride, but she was working
She
with
said I was helping kids, and she's talking about teaching kids to ride too. So for cool. She's, yep, I was helping kids in life and spoke of teaching kids to ride. What's a creche?
It's like a little, what would you call it in the States? Where you leave your kids while you're going to have like a few hours to yourself. So not like a preschool. Wasn't proper. It was like a little kid center.
Like a daycare, but yeah, not almost like a boys and girls club here then, probably, where they could go hang out for a few hours after school or whatever. Got you. Yeah, she says I was helping kids in life and spoke of teaching kids to ride, but she's saying I enjoyed working with the kids.
She did.
Working, and some with disabilities, she says.
Not to my knowledge.
I'm going to write it down. Disabilities. Okay. Yeah, she's showing me herself like painting rainbows as well. So she must be sending rainbows also.
Some of the rainbows that she has sent us have been, we've gotten double rainbows and yeah. Yes.
She says, she's showing herself painting rainbows in my vision. She says, I paint rainbows in the sky for my family. She's amazing for my family. Also, okay. Now, some of her girlfriends are in touch, though, she says.
Yes.
Girlfriends are in touch. In touch. And some of those are still writing, she's showing me. So some of her writing friends are still writing, says.
Yes.
Are still, she says, I never miss it.
Aw.
She says, I am always with them. With them. She's telling me your hair is like hers. So is your hair like hers?
Yes.
She says, Mom's hair is like mine. She looks more like you, she says.
She does.
She says, I look like my mom. Girl, if she corrects me one more time, I'm trying. I'm trying the mom thing. Did she say it? Did she call you mom?
How was mom? Yeah.
Okay.
Mom.
Mom. That. I literally I keep trying to say mom and I keep mom. Like, okay, got it. I love her. She's as fierce as I am. So there's that. Like we're having way too much fun. Okay. And then I got to try to figure out, were you actually talking about a trip to the States recently?
Yes.
She says you're talking about a trip to the States.
Yes.
She says, I'll be with you.
Yes.
To the States recently. She showed me a grandfather with her in heaven.
Yes.
Your dad's passed?
He has.
Because she says, I have your dad in heaven.
She would have my dad in heaven.
He's cool, she says.
He's awesome.
Good guy.
Amazing.
Okay, but mom outlived him. Your mom, correct?
Yes.
She says grandma outlived him. We didn't call her grandma. Did she call her gran or something?
She called her Grandma Ann.
Okay, because she says, I didn't just call her grandma. I didn't call her grandma. Her grandma. But there's a grandmother with her, she says.
Yes. She outlived, but not by much.
She says, I have grandma here too.
Yes, she would.
Yeah, she's surrounded by family, by horses, by everybody here too. She says, I'm so perfect, Mom. She says, I love you more.
Oh.
And then this is where we compete, because then she says most. So did you guys need to compete with that or something?
Yes, we'd go back and forth with that. We loved each
That I
other.
put more/most, so she's making me feel like she wins with that, just so you know. I do feel like she's pulling her energy back. You're probably feeling that too, but holy crap, girl, she is like a ball of energy, like an amazing, like, wow. I enjoyed meeting her today. When we're done, I mean, do you have a textable number for me to text you pictures, or do you want me to just send them on that messenger thing?
I think
Is your number outside of the States?
yeah, we're New Zealand. It's not the
Okay,
word.
so if you don't mind, then I'll just send them on that messenger then. And then if you have any issues getting them off there, let me know and I can always send them, whether I email them or whatever. Okay.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, girl. She is amazing. And you have a beautiful day. Are you part of Helping Parents Heal?
I'm actually going to be at the conference. That's my trip to America.
Oh, well then I will make sure to hug you, girl, because I have plans to hug and touch every parent again. I will be there. I'm going to be there early. So I'm going like on Tuesday, and I think I'm staying till Tuesday. So
perfect. I'm getting in on the 21st and I'm leaving late on the 26th. So
cool. Yeah, I will see you there. Like I'll be at so are you staying at the main place where the conference is at? Cool, cool. Because some are staying at the hotel that's literally like 2 minutes away. But yeah, I'll be there on site. I'll be there the whole time. And I am not scheduling one-on-ones there because I want to be present with the families in the hallways in between being on stage and stuff. And I just want to be there like loving on everybody. And there was a lot of moms and stuff and dads too that I pulled aside the last time and just was able to give them like private moments with me just for a few, whether it was talking or a little bit of connecting, whatever. And I just want to naturally be able to do that again rather than try to rush back to my room every 10 minutes for a reading. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet you. Definitely going to take a hug from you.
I can't wait to meet you as well. And I know that Elizabeth loves to share reading stories in a newsletter. So if you want to type something up and send it to her about this, she would love it a muchness. Your daughter is a fucking amazing at connecting. So, all right, honey, you have a beautiful day. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye, honey. You're welcome. Bye, sweetheart. Bye.